It was the anesthetic that woke them up. The drugs were supposed to make them sleep, deep, painless, dreamless sleep. But in Operating Theatre 3, they heard everything. They felt everything. They screamed, but no one could hear them. Some said the pharmacist made a mistake, changed their meds. But the truth was far more sinister. I'm a retired nurse, and while I never saw this particular case, I did see many like it during my career. When I first started working in the hospital, I had a patient who was scheduled for minor surgery. Nothing major, just a small procedure. So when she came out of anesthesia and started screaming, I was shocked. No one had told me she was in distress. And when I looked at her chart, I saw that the anesthesiologist had given her a sedative, not an anesthetic. And I realized I wasn't the only one who hadn't been told. The surgeon and the nurses were all pretending that nothing had happened. We all acted like it was a normal recovery until the patient left the hospital. Then we gossiped about how incompetent the anesthesiologist was. But we all knew that wasn't the real reason she'd woken up screaming. You see, back then, and even now, there are two types of anesthesia. One is a sedative, which makes you sleepy and lets you feel some pain. The other is an anesthetic, which puts you completely to sleep and blocks all pain. An anesthetic is what you want for surgery. But after that conversation, I never took anything for granted. I became suspicious of every patient who woke up screaming. And in some cases, my suspicions were confirmed. I had a patient who woke up from surgery with a horrific infection. And when I questioned the nurse, she told me that the anesthesiologist must have used dirty equipment. I should have known that wasn't true. I should have known that the anesthesiologist was being framed. Because if you work in an operating room, you know the anesthesiologist would never do that. They're the cleanest people in the hospital. They wear masks and gloves and scrub in just like surgeons. What really happened was this. The patient had a reaction to the anesthetic. It happens, but instead of admitting it, the nurse took her revenge on the anesthesiologist by making him look like a dirty animal. This kind of stuff happens all the time in hospitals. Nurses and doctors covering up mistakes, blaming each other. But sometimes there's no mistake to cover up. Sometimes there's something far more sinister going on, something that opens your mind, but not your eyes. In the case of Operating Theatre 3, some patients said the anesthetic woke them up, but they were wrong. They never really stopped breathing. They never really stopped feeling. Some patients even said they were visited by spirits, by beings from another world. Now, I don't believe in spirits, but I do believe in anesthetics. I know they can make you feel things you never thought possible, things you never thought existed. And I also know that the people who administer those anesthetics aren't always who or what they seem. Some of them are older than they look. Some of them have been around a lot longer than you think. Some of them have seen things that you wouldn't believe. I just wish people would listen to them. Subscribe for more surgical secrets, never meant to surface.